this is what making popular drama is supposed to look like, right? This is what making popular drama is supposed to look like. Making unpopular drama looks more like this, right? Doink. Titania Massey says Hulk season 2 is unlikely. I think we blew our budget and Disney is like, no thanks. Season 1 budget was, get this. I mean, this is insane. 225 million. 225 million for that piece of shit. And that's breathtaking. And it looks shit as well. But like, for that piece of shit that just went to so much trouble to take a shit on its audience, it's insane. I mean, that really is genuine insanity itself. But that's Disney, right? Which is why Doctor Who is on shaky, bloody ground, frankly. If they're pinning their hopes on Disney saving them, I would say think again, right? Think again. Is there a link to an article here? I mean, I don't even know what to say. And this is supposed to be better than Echo, which I'm not even interested in at all. She-Hulk team explains delivering a finale's big FU to trolls. Yeah, I think the big FU was you don't have a TV show anymore, right? But that's more important to you to say FU. I mean, like, look at this. Right, 225 million. Like, what were they even thinking? 225 million. How many episodes was it? It was like, and a half-hour episode. Look at that Joker. That's funny. 1 second. Let's look at the episode guide. It was like 8 episodes as well. 1 second. She-Hulk episode guide. How could, I mean, I don't understand how it costs so bloody much. I guess because they're massively incompetent. Was it 9 episodes? It was 9 episodes, right? And they're about half-hour each. Fuck me. Do they have the episode length? Let's see if they got the written down. 38 minutes. Okay, 1 second. Let's do the math. First, let's find out the minute length. And when I say 38 minutes, is that including recaps? Probably. So we got, okay, 38 plus. Next one is 30 plus. Oh, people visiting. Oh, this is so bad. 34 plus 36 minutes plus, and then we're up to, is this episode 4? Yeah. Plus 31 plus, and again, I think this is a lot of recap time as well. 31. Essentially, it's a half-hour show. 35. And then episode 8 is 36. With okay, so that comes up to 271, right? 271. So 225 million. So that's 6 zeros, right? 225 divided into 271. Okay, this thing costs $830,000, $258,030 a minute. Could you buy like for that shit? That's unbelievable. You can hear how shocked I am, right? That's cray, right? Let's see if anybody talks about that. See, Cosmic Book News. Oh, we've got to talk about Erin Moriarty. That was really sad what she's done. This like really beautiful woman has like given herself plastic surgery, and it has not gone well. No one wants to play Sentry. So Disney says no thanks to it. While appearing on Nerding Great Street Stream, Titania Masley was asked if She-Hulk Season 2 is happening. She said, I don't think so. I think we blew a budget. You think so? On $1 million a minute, essentially, which about that. Fucking hell. They went no thanks. A rumor from back from December also said that said the same, which caused the thought that Titania Masley has been fired by Marvel to go viral on TikTok. However, just because She-Hulk 2 might not be happening doesn't mean the actress and character can't appear in the MCU. She-Hulk happens to be rumored for Captain America: Brave New World. Why are you bothering making that? Like, literally no one's going to see it. I genuinely, literally nobody is going to see that. It's ridiculous. She-Hulk happens to be rumored Brave New World. And then it could always appear in the upcoming Avengers movie. I'm glad you thought that was a good idea, right? Okay, that you spent $1 million on that idea. Fuck me. Moving on to other projects. Today said in she also doubted that She-Hulk Season 2. I mean, I don't think so yet. But I say Maslany. Is that her name? Maslany answered about Season 2. Kevin in the scene seems to be very dismissive of the idea. So if we're basing this off the real Kevin, then it doesn't seem likely. Well, okay. Again, you did shit. I mean, let's be clear. You did. I mean, did that have your ratings over here? I don't think it does. Right? Is there any way you can possibly have it down? No, they're not going to tell anybody the ratings. Music, marketing, reception. What? With 451 million minutes watched. Alternate Law was the 7th most watched original. Oh, well, that's not really that impressive. I know. Sounds like a baloney to me, right? Baloney. Yeah, look, if it was good, if it was successful, they would have made more. Doctor Who Season 3, I don't know. I really don't know. Because it's not going to hit the cameras before Season 1 finishes. I reckon it's unlikely. All right? I do reckon it's unlikely. If Season 1 if Season 1 comes out and it tanks, which I think there's quite a strong possibility of, then I just don't see it, right? I just don't see it coming together. But he was also, I think, just trying to get rid of Jen at the point when she was asking too many questions. Who knows? The interviewer also recommended she move on to other projects. She said, yeah, exactly. Okay. Tatiana Maslany blasted Disney CEO Bob Iger during a summer over comments made about the strike. Said, I think it's completely out of touch. Oh, that was do you think that might have something to do with you not getting a second season? Oh, please, Russell, get mouthy about Bob Iger. That'd be awesome, right? That would be awesome. I think it's completely out of touch. He's completely out of touch with the workers who make the shows happen, who make people watch these shows. Yeah, but nobody watches it. That's the thing, you dumb cunt. Nobody watched it, right? Because it was shit. I understand it made you giggle, and the other girl is giggle, but you're not the audience, right? It would have been fine in a functional MCU, right? Which is essentially a masculine brand. But that's not what happened. They make people bring the people back to watch these shows and to making money. Yeah, exactly. You weren't making money, right? That's not a good negotiating position. Having worked on a Disney show, I know where people fall through the cracks and where people are taken advantage of, and it's outrageous the amount of wealth that is not shared. I agree with you. With the people who actually make the show, the cast, the crew, the right. I agree with you completely. Right? According to MD, she has Green Bank and Invasion to a Bonfire in the works. Well, good for her. Right? Good for her. It's crazy. more respect for She-Hulk Productions if the 200 million were spent on booze and strippers instead of the show. Yeah, how did they spend that money on the show? That's a like they've got a lot of it must have gone on coke, right? A lot of it must have gone on coke, right? Fly Island is anything, Fly Island. As already spoken, they're not rumors. She's out, baby. But yeah, no, I haven't yet. I'm warming up to beginning close. I'm finishing up the chat now. Dr. Alex is here. How you doing, Dr. Alex? Thank you for joining us. What else we got here? Dragon Slayer is here. Have you really slayed a dragon? Right? Romana 2 screamed a lot. Did she? I mean, her bottom lip wobbled when she was like, mind probe while she was probed by the Daleks, who were. Excuse me, I'm just going to probe Romana. It is my turn to probe Romana. No, I'm okay. I'll do it. But your big sucker's all gooey now. Matthew Pounder said, Matthew Pounder doing. Rabbi, name your cat Honky. Well, I'd try that. Here's what I kept. Yeah, here's why I kept failing. Right, I told my daughter. I said to my daughter, this cat is full of life, full of vigor. Why do we call her Spunky? I couldn't keep a straight face. I have that every time. Like, why do we call her Spunky? I said, what does that mean? I don't know. Make me hungry for brisket. Listen, when aren't you hungry for brisket? You can tell you're not a Jew. Where are we up to? I remember when a TV series didn't cost $2 billion to make 10 episodes. 9 episodes. 9 episodes, PD Rich. With 9 episodes, like half hour long. It's ridiculous. And it didn't even look good. I mean, like, what were they spending their money on? Not greening her up. Look, the green chick in Star Trek looked way more convincing. Right? They must have. Okay, they must. Sure. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna Google She-Hulk porn parody cover. I'm saying cover. Hopefully, it won't be too obscene, right? Because I bet that's a more realistic green done on a much lower budget. There you go. Oh, totally. Okay, fine. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean this. Totally works better. Holy crap! I can't show the back. Okay, here. Some pictures of She-Hulk, right? This is the porn version of She-Hulk, right? It is more convincing than the 255 million She-Hulk. And I'm not, exaggerating, right? Here, doink. Look. Okay, that's more... What the fuck? And she had to take her clothes off and have sex. Right? That's part of the job of being a porn version, right? So I guess that makeup must be pretty good, right? An Axel Braun parody. I actually heard of him. I remember who Axel Braun is because, his parodies are always closer, right? And I remember on Twitter saying, because we care, right? I'm sorry. I don't think they spent 255 million on the. They should honestly. They should have gone to the guy. Was it Axel Braun? Right? They should go to Axel Braun. They say, "Can you make a straight show? I'll give you 10 million." They're like, "Sure, fuck yes," and it would be better, and everybody would have liked it. Really. Right? Really? As we look, it means energetic, confident, and determined, or covered in spunk. Yeah, that's exactly. Yes. Well, the second one makes me laugh, right? Yeah, this is so much better. This is crazy, right? I mean, this is generally. I mean, this is really the porn version. I don't know what to tell you. Shall we look at the Millie Gibson thing? Let's look at the Millie Gibson thing. Doink. 1 second. Susie got a break silence, so we don't want to start there. So, new Star Wars rumor claims Rey film delayed indefinitely, but don't get your hopes up. My hopes were up. Right? My hopes are up already, right? They're totally up. A new Star Wars rumor has awakened, this time claiming that Disney's upcoming Rey-centric film trilogy has already met its demise. Well, look, the reason people believe it, because people have a bias towards logic and reason, right? And nobody can really believe they're actually going to make this piece of shit movie, right? We're like, what? It's like, okay, it's like doing a Marvel, what's it called? Femforce, or whatever it's called, female Avengers, right? Nobody believes that's actually going to happen. The recent movie has met its demise. So yeah, I mean, look, when I first heard this, I thought, well, it's the civil war going on in Lucasfilm. Look, if they're bringing Jon Favreau back for a Mando movie, that means that the Kathleen Kennedy faction isn't doing so well. And then having this indefinitely put on hold tends to, lead into that, play into that vision. Supposedly it's set in the post-sequel trilogy, the New Jedi Order era of the franchise timeline. The standalone movie will follow Rey, nobody, Palpatine, Skywalker, take your pick, as she sets out to instruct a new generation of Jedis in the ways of the Force. Yeah, and the spoiler rumor is that she has twin children, a boy and a girl, and the boy turns to the dark side of the Force and kills Rey about 2/3 of the way through the movie, right? And then moving forward, you focus on the siblings, right? First out in production in 2023 Star Wars Celebration event. The project has received a few updates since. It sounds like Big Finish's Fugitive Doctor series. The only ones coming via a pair of interviews in which Star Daisy really denoted that she had yet to see a full script. Again, so Stephen Knight was writing it. Now, Stephen Knight, freaking awesome, right? Did Peaky Blinders. Everything he's done has been very good. That was until January 16th, when the World of Real's Jordan Rumney shared a supposed piece of news that got a lot of people's hopes up, mine included. Okay. I've been told that Disney has delayed the film indefinitely. Oh, please. That would be so good. And so we never say it, which is why this surprised everyone last week with and decided to announce The Mandalorian and Grogu as the next Star Wars movie. And again, it being by Jon Favreau is really significant. So in Mando Season 3, you had the big Mando with the giant gun, right, getting cut down by the Praetorian Guard from the Last Jedi? Whatever that piece of shit movie was, right? Now, I actually thought that was the only good scene in the movie, by the way, right? I like the red-clad, Force using Knights of Ren or whatever. They were really cool, right? They were really cool, and I think they really, really worked. And I like the idea of Rey and Kylo Ren teaming up, right, and doing something different, right? That was brilliant. Everything else around it was just turgid shit, right? Relentless turgid shit. And not even subtly relentless turgid, but really genuinely relentless turgid shit. The problems seem to reside in the creative differences. 1 second. He reported they just don't have confidence in the new Jedi Order will be happening in the near future. Well, if it was happening, you wouldn't have any confidence it would succeed. Because it sounds like utter garbage. The problem seems to reside in the creators, including the screenwriter Stephen Knight and Lucasfilm. So yeah, they apparently got a bunch of notes making. I said you got to make the women stunninger and braver, right, or something like that. I mean, again, Stephen Knight is a real class act. I really recommend you go and check out pretty much anything he's done, which is normally very good. I'm told that draft had originally been written for the film, but the Lucasfilm gave him so many notes that he decided to start from scratch. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Further, he asserted, to make matters worse, there is a possibility that Knight might not be staying on board for the project. His frustrations have grown, so he's put Star Wars on the back burner and is now focused on his screenplay for the Peaky Blinders movie. Yeah, actually, instead of doing a Peaky Blinders movie, could you do it set in the Peaky Blinders universe, but let's have it set starring Tom Hardy's like Jewish gangster character? That's a movie I want to see, right? Which is supposed to go into production in the fall. I thought it was supposed to go into production in summer, they said. I don't know. I thought it was going into production before then. Right? And I can look, he's successful enough. He can say, leave me alone. Fucking stupid story group that knows nothing. The production in film. But then, right on time, just a few hours after the rumor began to spread like wildfire on social media, Gizmodo released their own report declaring that the Ray film, well, I don't really trust Gizmodo. The Ray film, contrary to rumor report, is still on track. They're in the outer, well, is Ahsoka season 2 still on track? Because I've only seen a few, hand sketched things about that. They're in the outlets German, what's it? German Lucia. The outlets German Lucia said that according to a supposed insider source at Lucasfilm, Rabbi report was inaccurate and continues to write and be part of the process. In fact, the company is waiting for his latest draft as you read this. Yeah, I don't know. This sounds fishy, right? This sounds fishy. It sounds like it sounds like the initial report is right? The initial report of there being trouble in paradise. Yet, for all the noise the internet has subsequently made over both reports, it should be noticed both lack any real verifiable sources to the claim. But again, the logic is still that they would never make a Ray movie. It will be insane. I mean, why not just burn the money instead? I mean, it's like, have you ever seen the Mel Brooks movie, The Producers, where they make a movie, they make a play that's so awful that it has to close instantly, and they make money on that? Maybe it's something like that. This is puzzling as well. Disney Lucasfilm may not be the most organized group in town. You can be certainly don't immediately shelve their announced films because a single screenwriter was temporarily putting them on the back burner. Yeah, but maybe it was a rogue announcement. Catholic, maybe. Further, if Knight was truly experienced creative differences with Disney, history has shown that such issues are not necessarily the death knell of a given production. For example, look no further than the franchise's own Star Wars, a solo Star Wars story. Yeah, that was a disaster, right? That was a disaster, right? I would really love to see the original version, but was it Dan Merle, I think, had the best idea what this should have been. The movie should have been called Kessel Run, about some kind of a gritty caper, Western caper in the Star Wars universe. Han Solo should have been in as the kid, along with Lando Calrissian, and he shouldn't have got the Millennium Falcon at the end, right? It should have been way before that. Which was first was reassigned from its original director duo Phil Lord and Chris Miller to Ron Howard. I mean, look, Lord and Miller went on to do Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which was phenomenally successful, right? Phenomenally successful. And this wasn't. This was a phenomenal flop. Sadly, right? Because Aaron Einrich was awesome. He's a really good actor, right? He's a really genuinely good actor. He was good as Han Solo. The script was a piece of shit, I'm afraid. I wish I had all those resources, that entire cast, and then with a good script. That would have been fantastic, right? Because they had a lot of stuff in it was great. Following the respective disagreements with the company's vision to the prequel film. Conversely, I say, history has also Disney has been unafraid to outright abandon its fair share of previously owned Star Trek projects. Yes, we got the Dan and Dave trilogy, to the Ryan Johnson trilogy, to the Patty Jenkins Rose wanted to. I didn't hear about this. Guillermo del Toro's The Rise and Fall of Jabba the Hutt. I would have loved seeing that. To the Gina Carano-led Rangers of the New Republic, to countless other bits and pieces that never made it out the Disney hype machine. Yes. So again, it sounds like I believe this wasn't happening, right? I believe that wasn't happening. There's more than enough evidence to suggest that the canning of Charmin Obid Chinoy's upcoming film is not outside the realm of possibility. I mean, again, it's received so much shit, right? It's been so derided, quite rightly so, right? Quite rightly so. It's been so insanely derided. However, should we know that Gizmodo did actually have one true thing to say about the film's development? Can anyone say I'm 100% certain it's coming out? Of course not. This is Star Wars, and if the last thing is to talk to anything, if it's not until until the cameras are rolling, nothing, not everything that's announced happening. That's true, right? Say all these pictures of Rey make me think, oh, what a piece of shit this movie was. The actual truth, this is the actual truth of the Rey movie. With so much unconfirmed information flying around, fans could do their best to temper their expectations until they see the official set materials or receive a direct company word for the cancellation. Well, they don't give you direct company word for like years and years later, right? Why Disney would pursue a sequel trilogy rather than focus on parts of the tension that the fans responded to is beyond my understanding, because it's a political move, essentially. But as of writing, that seems to be happening. Well, I mean, that's been happening for a long time, mate, right? I mean, that really has been happening for a long time. This I found fascinating and so on the money, right? Absolutely nails this 100%. Opinion. How Palpatine's good as a point of view fooled not only Anakin Skywalker, but a generation of Star Wars fans. Yes. Here's the thing. Good is not a point of view, right? And that's something that we've totally forgotten in Western civilization. We've forgotten there is, it might not be an objective good and evil, but it's something that we as a civilization have decided that we all call good and evil. Like introducing sexuality to children used to be considered evil. Right now, it's considered good, right, by some people. The reason for this moral ambiguity everywhere is to be is to be immoral, right? The only reason to make the boundaries of morality fuzzy is so you don't have to worry about those boundaries of morality, right? Karney says, do not use anything from those not so specials. Absolutely right. And they really were not so special, right? They were really I think calling them special was a bit of a trace description act they could get done with. But yeah, they love the Empire now, right? What you're about to read is a Star Wars story, believe it or not. Ever since the horrific October 7th attack on Israel by terrorist organization Hamas, I've been thinking about the reality of good and evil. I think that's one of the reasons God brought that attack, frankly. And if you don't believe in God, it's cool. I'm not trying to make you believe it. I'm talking about my crazy worldview, right? And when Westerners lost sight of how to tell the difference between the two, that's really what happened, man. From the pro-Palestinian protests blocking major highways and the mainstream calls for Jewish genocide. Yeah, and they're totally fine with that. Yeah, like, a bit of Jewish genocide, no problem. We're seeing now the rotten fruit of the seeds planted in the years after 9/11. The moral relativism has taken over our culture. I remember when they had the great show 24, right? Damn it, Chloe. And it was all about like the counter-terrorism unit, right? Keith Sutherland, and it was all in real time. We had 24 episodes. Was a 24-hour day, but it was all about counterterrorism. So mainly, the last first few years was about Arabs, and then they did anything they could to make it not about Arabs being the terrorists. Which, okay, whatever. America had a honeymoon period of unity and courage after the 9/11 attacks. There was a sense on the streets in Washington, in the media, in our universities, that what had done after what had to be done after the Twin Towers fell. We went after the bad guys in Afghanistan. The mission creep began, and George W. Bush announced in 2003 his intent to depose Saddam Hussein in Iraq. A shift began. When I was 14, the first trailer of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, debuted on November 5th, 2005. 2004, I should say. And by that time, the Iraq War was a little more than a year old. When my friends and I saw the trailer, the discussion over lunch at school was about the rise of the empire and the collapse of democracy. We were curious about how the good guys would become the bad guys, and we know that George Lucas was concerned about the legacy of Vietnam and the phony wars, and we started to theorize that George W. Bush could be a Palpatine-like figure. I think less Machiavellian, less clever. Obama, maybe, right? I see Obama as being a more Palpatine-like figure. Certainly not Trump. Trump's more of a Jabba the Hutt type figure. Yes, but Trump is what I know, but I think I'm more moral Jabba the Hutt, I guess. I don't know. After all, this was right after Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, where Chancellor Palpatine took the emergency powers from the Galactic Senate, mirroring the real events in the United States with the Patriot Act. Man, it all just went under my nose. I had little kids at the time. I just didn't notice anything. From Palpatine's remark to Anakin Skywalker that good is a point of view, and the Sith and the Jedi are similar in almost every way, including their quest for greater power. Many Star Wars fans began to take this idea seriously, just as Anakin Skywalker did. Yeah, he was the bad guy, right? I hate to tell you, like Palpatine was the bad guy. Now, of course, Palpatine was the winner of Star Wars. Insanely, it's just insanely, and easy to see why. Given what's going on in the real world of American slide, from justified victim to human rights abuser, shown most clearly in the infamous Abu Ghraib prison reports of late 2003. We've never recovered from the crisis of self-perception. That's a fair point. That's very, very perceptive. Good guys must be bad guys, and bad guys must be misunderstood or even good. Yes. I mean, man, this has been an ongoing problem in culture, right? It's been undermined all our storytelling, which is basically morality plays. How do you do morality plays if you don't believe morality? That's why I produced a video on Star Wars and morality for geeky statics to unpack. That's what Star Wars does, and does what it does and doesn't teach us about objective right and wrong. I was like Anakin once in my 20s, were a time of taking Palpatine's word as fact. I affirm lies with who's to say, and covered a habit or personal failing with a warm blanket of having empathy. It feels very good to win the battle of who's more open-minded. Something that explains much of the disintegrated culture of the West. Yeah, the smartest people in the room tend to be those who can best explain the case of barbarism, terror, and death, but it's a deception. The same people who take Palpatine at his word don't tend to have nice things to say about what Anakin did to the younglings at the temple. Well, and they kind of go together, right? My overwhelming what's the word? Thought I had while watching Napoleon, which was really excellent. I really love Ridley Scott's Napoleon. I really, really like that. It was set right after the French Revolution, during and after the French Revolution, the Reign of Terror, right? And you see the incredibly dangerous vacuum that happens when there's a revolution, when you get rid of a controlling political system, right? And it's chaos. You have you had the Reign of Terror, and then Robespierre was the last person in the guillotine, right? It's what happens, right? Also, death of Stalin was very similar, like people being killed and who are being killed, right? It's bizarre. That was wrong, but for some reason the fandom narratives about Anakin for being justified go back to the corruption within the Jedi Order. as if the religious institutions being politicized is a straight line to justifying their extermination and death of innocents. Well, there is about hatred of religion, right? I find not all, but a large amount of anti-Semitism that I witness is basically a hatred of the Bible that comes. Basically, it was a hatred of the Bible that which converts itself into hatred of Jews, being the people of the book, right? Tell me why Alan Moore's trending right now. We're talking about something about Watchmen. We'll get to that in a second. Doink. There we go. Where am I? They know the Anakin will be fine. Years later, in Star Wars Episode 5, Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, Luke is training with Yoda and Dagobah, I guess chronologically. He wants to know about the dark side. He asks first, is the dark side stronger? Yoda answers, no, quicker, easier, more seductive. How am I to know the good side from the bad side? Good question. Right? Yoda's clear in response. You will know when you are calm, at peace, passive. That's interesting, right? C.S. Lewis from the Chronicles of Narnia spoke about this very idea on air during the German air raids in World War II. He broadcast a series of talks between 1941 and 44 about how are now collected in the book Mere Christianity, where Lewis works his way through the ethical questions about human existence that led to his belief in God. That sounds fascinating. I've got to check that out. His first observation is that that human beings know right from wrong innately. Yes, I believe so, right? And I believe that's somewhat of an existence, a proof of the existence of a soul. But again, that's my worldview. He calls this a law of nature, beginning with a simple indices. He says, "You took my seat. I was sitting there first," or "Leave that person alone. He isn't doing you any harm." Human beings appeal to one another's sense of what standards of behavior should be. We almost expect people to know it. Well, yeah, and the only time they don't know it is when you have idiot parents that won't enforce right and wrong. Well, it's been going on for a couple of generations. The other man seldom replies, "To hell with your standard." If they do, it's a special excuse is about to follow. He continues. Anakin Skywalker knew that murdering the Jedi children was wrong, but he had a special excuse he saw that Mace Windu's attempt to arrest Palpatine, as well as vigil of Padme's ultimate death. And the reason this is important, I think, is that people lose their way, right? I remember the place we used to live in Israel called Beit Shemesh. There was a very lots of tensions between different types. So you had the ultra-Orthodox Jews and you had the more modern Orthodox Jews, right? And they were arguing about who was allocated a building as a school. So the point was, at one time, a cute 5-year-old Jewish girl, dressed as a cute 5-year-old girl, right? Not so, and he was walking into school when you had a huge, Hasidic man screaming at her, "She's a whore," right? And in his mind, he thought he was right. Right, but you've got to just see where one and one, where if it leads you to the wrong place, But he had special issues with what he saw of Mace Windu's attempt to arrest Palpatine, as well as his vigil of Padme's ultimate death. Leftist Americans know that mass murder and rape of Israeli civilians attending a music festival was wrong, but if they can fit it into a victim position of the colonizer. Yeah, this is what Philip Morris was doing earlier, right? It's like, oh, Jews don't like black people. Excuse me. We have we have a major section of our community is black, right? Of the population is black. Don't pretend we don't like, oh no, we're just white colonizers, right? It can't be tolerated. It can be tolerated in the name of social justice. Lewis asks us to make a note of the things that we make excuses for. It tends to be things that we make excuses for: cowardice, anger, revenge, lust, and greed. No one makes excuses for not cheating on their spouses, or not screaming when you're angry, or not attacking your enemy in the streets. Very interesting point he's making. Like Yoda suggests, when you are still listening, calm and at peace, which this generation is at all. It is not in any way. You know what good and you know what the good side is, and you can distinguish from bad. You have always known, right? And that's why you need all the noise of social media and everything else to drown it out, to act as a counterbalance for your innate goodness. Yeah, a Jewish idea is that we equate a candle flame to the soul, right? Because a flame always reaches upwards, always reaches higher, right? Reaches to heaven, which I believe is an innate part of being human. Anakin Skywalker was the opposite of all these things. He was panicked, paranoid, and stressed, and filled with a sense of impending doom when his dream of death of his mother in the Attack of the Clones, he was a prime target for Palpatine's deception. Yeah, again, a central idea we have in Judaism is the only real tool the Satan, we call it the Satan, has is that of deception, is that thinking that making you believe something terrible is going to happen and use that to motivate you to do something terrible yourself. Right, and so we, all of us, are living in times of chaos, cultural unraveling, worrying about the future and democracy and self-government. We're gripped in 24-hour news cycle of terror, anxiety, and anxiety. Our heroes are constantly torn down and recast as villains. Our country has, without a doubt, gotten worse, not better, since it's got a lot worse in the last few years, since the 9/11 attacks. But this happened because America responded to genuine evil with strength and a sense of righteousness. It happened because we blinked. Very, very powerful article. Right, well done. Stephen Kent, yeah, I really fundamentally agree with everything you're saying. So Bonner's Grader says, prestige television is dead. Well, the money for it's not. He's got to dumb down recent projects. That's a real shame. According to Soprano creator David Chase, thanks to the ever-growing fear among Hollywood that audience will be unable or unwilling to engage in a level of complexity in their storytelling, the era of prestige television, if not the entire idea of the medium as an actual art form, has officially come to an end. Who wrote this? Spencer Bacali, I should say. The story creator offers his take on the current television landscape during July 12th career retrospective given at a UK news outlet, The Times. You know, I've been watching Killers of the Moon, the new Scorsese thing on Apple Plus, and I was excited by it, right? Because it was, look, I like Scorsese a lot. Last film was The Irishman, and it was also 3.5 hours long, and I like that a lot. This is not the same experience in any way, shape, or form. I'm only halfway through it, so I'm only an hour or so into it, so I can't really give you a review of it yet. But it's just like, so far it seems very indulgent with very overlong scenes for no apparent reason. Met therein with the observation from host Jonathan Dean that the current year would mark the 25th anniversary of the seminal series. Oh, where'd it go? Of the seminal series. Rather than respond with an overtly joyous sentiment, Chase lamented, yes, 25th anniversary, so of course it's a celebration. But perhaps we shouldn't look at it like that. Maybe we should look at it as a funeral. As to those whose services, services they would be attending, Chase explained that the deceased was none other than prestige television. Catch-all term for shows such as Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, and which present audience with more mature, intricate, and overarching stories than usually offered by the average network production. Yeah, that's really what destroyed Westworld. It's just way too complicated and too layered and deep for a casual watch. You have to watch it several times over, and it's so freaking clever, and it's worth it. That's the thing. But people don't make investment in TV like that. That was a blip. He admitted. He sadly admitted to Dean. A 25-year blip. To be clear, I'm not only talking about Sopranos, but they've had a lot of other hugely talented people out there. I feel increasingly bad for them. Yeah. Moving to provide context for his feelings, the creator recalled to his host that when he first made a play at becoming a television screenwriter, he did so with the intention of showing Hollywood just what the medium was capable of. right, and made them regret the decades of stupidity and greed, Chase said Chase. I don't know. Maybe somebody, they make something good and it's successful. People will get it. I don't know. Back then, the networks were an artistic pit, a shithole. Yes, the process was repulsive. In meetings, these people would often ask to take out one thing, the one thing that made an episode worth doing. I should have quit. To this end, Chase noted at the point this won't occur, in light of the absolute freedom and the ad-free airtime The Sopranos was eventually afforded at HBO, he felt like he had the best job in Hollywood. Well, he did, and he produced one of the best things in Hollywood. Sopranos is fantastic. I love The Sopranos. However, he laments the fact the industry is going back to where I was. They're going to have commercials noted referring to the recent introduction of both as the Netflix and Prime Video. And I've already been told to dumb it down. In support of his opinion, Chase told Dean that his current projects, a series described by the latter as being a high-end prostitute forced into witness protection by co-written by FX, a teacher miniseries, Hannah Fidel, has found itself stalling in development because the unspecified network partners are worried that the viewers will find the story too complicated to follow. Ken, this is what idiot executives think, and they are idiots. Who is this for? He then questioned. I guess the stockholders. Closing out his thoughts on the topic, Chase asserted, as the human race goes down, we are more into multitasking. Your phone is just one symptom. That's how I judge something, really. If I don't look at my phone, right, when I'm watching it, that means I like it. We seem to be confused, and audiences can't keep their minds on things. So we can't make anything that makes sense, takes their attention, and takes the audience's focus. As for streaming executives, they're getting worse, he added. We're going back to where we were. So it's a funeral, Chase concluded. Something is dying. Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe that may be the case, right? That may well be the case. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. And ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.